Oh, we're on. Hey, what's going on? It's Jeremy. I'm Jeremy. This is the Genesee County Compassion Club show. Coming to you today from allpointstv.com. What's up, everybody? I'm looking... Okay, here I am. I see the blue light now, John. Thank you. Referring to the camera that's in front of me, we got some fancy new technology going on in the studio. I'm just trying to get used to it. I've been gone for a little bit, so I'm glad to be back. We'll let you guys know what's happening down at the Genesee County Compassion Club. Also let you in on what's happening here in the state of Michigan in terms of medical marijuana. There's lots of stuff going on. So, hey, man, it's good to be back. John, good to see you, man. John's the man behind the cam at allpointstv.com, for those of you wondering. He makes it all happen here. He's that way. Oh, dude, courtesy of the Holistic Center, Erica, rocking it out over there. Thank you very much. What flavor did you have, John?
I don't know.
You don't know. You just inhaled it and it's gone now.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to get it. It's still wrapped up.
It's still wrapped up.
I'm going to get it.
All right, well, I'll start talking and you can start eating.
All right.
But no, thank you, Erica. The Holistic Center is rocking out over there. If you guys haven't been to the Genesee County Compassion Club in a while, or if you've been in there and you haven't had a chance to try out the food at the Holistic Center, I definitely recommend you do. It's $5 and get you the most delicious sandwich you've had in probably a very long time. I think John was getting hooked up today on the buffalo chicken wrap. So John, you pipe in whenever you want. Let us know how that tastes. All right. Hey, we do have some other events going on at the club. Primarily, I want to mention Outdoorfest. This is coming up the 31st. That's this Saturday, everybody. So we're having a Halloween costume contest going on. So dress up if you can. Let's have some celebratory times. Let's have some fun. And of course, we're having our first annual Outdoorfest. And this is in celebration, of course, of all of our outdoor gardeners out there. We've got a lot of people here in Michigan that took advantage of the new laws that were passed back just a couple years ago. And of course, I'm referring to the updated versions of the Michigan medical marijuana law, where it tells you exactly how you can perform an outdoor grow here in Michigan safely, legally for your patients. And I know there's a lot of folks that took advantage of that this year, and so we are anxious to see what it all looks like, and we're going to find out October 31st at Outdoorfest down at the G3C. So please make sure you come out. It is a free event if you're a club member. There's no extra additional charge. There's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of prizes, a lot of games, and like I said, mainly the contest. So we're looking to see who's got the biggest stalk, who's got the biggest, as far as biggest, I mean the longest. We're also looking to see who's got the thickest around, and we're also looking to see who's got the best. So this is all, of course, outdoor weed is what we want to see. If you've been growing it outdoors and you think you got something to show off, bring it in Saturday. It's a $10 entry fee, and you can enter in any one of the categories you'd like to. And we'll have a judges panel for the best overall, and of course we'll get the tape measure out and see who's got the biggest. So I want to see some thunder and redwoods, if you know what I'm talking about. Bring in those honkers. Let's show people what the power of the sun can do, all right? I was just talking with an outdoor gardener today in the club, and we were talking about some of the test results that our lab was putting out. Recently, I had a strain that I had done indoors, and it came back at less than 1% THC, so obviously not too good in the THC department. Came back at like 7 or 8% in the CBD, CBG department, mostly CBDs. So overall, definitely a CBD type strain. What we were talking about today, though, was his strain, and his strain is called Catatonic, grown outdoors, came in at less than 1% THC and had over 13% CBD. So there's no denying the power of the sun. And I know that us indoor growers tend to get a little bit haughty and feeling like our product is superior because of the controlled climate. But I'll tell you what, all of that controlled climate can't make up for a well-maintained, well-produced outdoor garden that is powered by the infinite power of the sun. I mean, it is truly phenomenal what the sun can do. So I tell you what, the days of knocking the outdoor stuff and saying it's, you know, subprime or that it's somehow inferior to indoor growing, those days are coming to an end. I mean, folks are getting it done. They're showing the results. The testing is coming out phenomenally. I've seen stuff over 20% that is outdoor grown. So there's no BS. I mean, you can't say like you used to be able to. Oh yeah, definitely outdoors. No, it's definitely a fighting game now. So, anyways, that's exciting for me. I think that you know, if laws changed in the future and it became just a little bit more feasible to actually utilize the sun. Didn't have to worry about limits and stuff like that. Man, I think the sun's an awesome way to go. It's a lot less expensive than consumers' power, that's for sure. So, save the environment, grow outdoors if you can, right? No, sorry. But yeah, hey, dude, Duberfest, 31st, Saturday, be there, be square, all right? It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's our first one. Like I said, there's no extra charge. All you got to do is show up and have a good time, all right? All right, what else we got going on? I know that we had our soup kitchen here just a little bit ago. That's fantastic. We're keeping that going on. Always can use volunteers for the soup kitchen. Love cooking it up down there. And, of course, we've got the holiday season coming up right now, so oftentimes we sort of will change our schedule. So if you want to sign up for the soup kitchen during the months of November or December, we definitely would love to have your help. However, they are going to be on different days during those months because of the holidays. So make sure you check up at the front desk there at the snack bar or at the security check-in station or next door at the Ed Center, and we can make sure that we get you the proper information, get you signed up, and you have a chance to serve, which is a really fun thing to do in the holidays, I'll tell you that. If you haven't had a chance to do it, recommend you get out there, spend an afternoon, and spread the good cheer. So, all right, what else we got going on? I know a lot of folks are talking about the laws. Not to get too far off subject here, but have you tried this frosty root beer? This stuff is amazing. Oh. Yeah, there's no corn syrup in it, and it's made in Detroit. I mean, what else do you need, right? Anyways, hold on. Oh, that's good. I'm not getting paid to say that. All right, it's just good. All right. Yeah, laws in Michigan. Yeah, we got some stuff going on. I wanted to share with you guys, give you an update, let you know where things are at. Been talking a lot on the program about 4209, the House bills. We know that we've been paying attention to how the House passed those bills. They're in the Senate now for review. And last week, it was a week ago from yesterday actually, there was a Senate hearing on these bills in our Senator Rick Jones's committee. And they discussed the bills. Now, what I want to share with you is an email that I got. Tim Beck, who's been a long-time medical marijuana supporter here in Michigan, was kind enough to attend the meeting and also share his point of view from that meeting. So if you give me just a second, I'm going to pull this up and read you what Tim had to say about the meeting. If you look at the schedule, you can see that there were scheduled 3 different companies to speak at the meeting. And of course, I'm talking about the hearing. This is the hearing on those state bills we've been talking about, the dispensary bill and the tracking bill. Okay, so that's what this was about, and they had the review on it. On the schedule was basically 3 different companies to make presentations. All 3 of these companies were supposedly tracking companies for tracking cannabis, and of course they were referring to the tracking bill that was being presented, and sort of, if you will, making their case to Senator Jones as to why they should be the company to be picked for the tracking system. So at any rate, I think before I give you the review on this and what Mr. Beck has to say, I want to give you a pretext as to what is going on here. I mean, you have a Senate hearing, number 1, being scheduled to review 2 bills that have been already passed in the House. We're talking about House Bill 4209 and its accompanying bill, the tracking bill. So we're talking about getting the legislation, regulation set up for distribution centers for cannabis across the state, how that's going to go down, the framework of it, and then of course the testing. So this particular hearing was to specifically talk about the tracking system and allow these 3 companies to make presentations on how their tracking systems would be the tracking system for Michigan to choose for Michigan's patients and caregivers. So I guess before I get into this, I just want to point out that is not a typical Senate hearing type committee hearing. I mean, for a senator to be discussing a part of legislation, and then basically, in my estimation, you'll see when I get through this review, in a sense, doing job interviews on site in a Senate committee hearing, I don't know, I think it's crazy. So here, let me get to what Mr. Beck had to review. He was the one that was at the meeting, and I'm going to quote from his email here. It says, the meeting consisted basically of sales pitches by different companies wanting to get a state contract for seed-to-sale tracking of medical marijuana here in Michigan. No public testimony or questions were allowed. By far, the most impressive performance was given by BioTrack THC, based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, whose CEO, David, gave the presentation. BioTrack has the seed-to-sale contracts for Washington, New Mexico, Illinois, and New York. in addition to working with private corporations. He has lots of hard data on hand on answers and to answer those questions. Senator Jones seemed impressed. He was the only committee member who asked any questions. His main interest was how such a system could help the police. In fact, he asked the question twice of Mr. Vo, Mr. David, let's leave it at that. Asked him twice. His answer was his system can detect anomalies in reporting patterns and any unusual activity by a grower or sales outlet that don't fit certain patterns specified by the state and or normal grow operations that are in compliance with the law. It is a system designed to get rid of bad actors and protect good ones. He described Michigan as the Wild West of MJ and said his system was the right solution. Beacon Information Designs LLC, this is the next presenter. The presentation was given by a gentleman named Chris Ellis, who described his tracking system as compassionate drug monitoring for individuals and licensees. When the senator asked Mr. Ellis if he was running any state contracts like Mr. Vo's group, the answer was no, and Jones quickly lost interest when that answer was given. Ditto for Blue Health and Wellness Center LLC, represented by a man named David Battens. Blue Health described themselves as the only Michigan-based company in the tracking market, and specifically mentioned Oakland County State Senator Mike Kowal in his testimony, who he insinuated he had a relationship with. Blue Water's system is designed to protect kids, weed out criminals and tax cheaters, and at the same time has the expertise of HIPAA compliance, etc. When Mr. Battens admitted under questioning that his firm had no substantiative clients, Jones again lost interest and cut things short. When the Q&A was over, the senator said with a big smile that he did not want Michigan to be the Wild West. So this is the review from Mr. Beck, who did attend the Senate committee hearing. That is the gist of what went on in the Senate committee hearing. And again, I find it quite preposterous that our state senator is using his committee hearings to basically job interview potential contractors for state government contracts. Because obviously that's what's going to happen here, folks. If this bill 4209 passes, they're going to form a panel. The panel's going to form a whole lot of rules and regulations, and everybody's going to have to jump through those hoops. Part of that process is going to include electing a company to provide a tracking system, because that's the accompanying bill to 4209. If 4209 passes, the tracking system also has to pass with it. So they go hand in hand. That's right. This is for medical marijuana. This is not for recreational. This is for the current medical marijuana.
I mean, I'm looking at this, the tracking, is this primarily for taxation and you don't have revenue for the public, or is it for the fear this rub so bad? You have to let them have it. I mean, I don't see this kind of tracking in place for oxys. I don't see it in place for.
Yeah. Clearly, I mean, the rhetoric being presented by the three companies that were actually saying, you know, here we are, we can do the tracking for you. The benefit that they were presenting was simply the fact that they're offering a way to catch bad actors. I mean, the one, quote for quote, that's what he said. We're here to catch bad actors. The other one said, we're here to protect kids. I mean, weed out criminals and tax cheaters. So yeah, John, I mean, part of it is to make sure that the proper tax revenue collection system is in place and that they can be held accountable and so on. And another part of the tracking ideology is, you know, to make sure that the medicine itself stays in the hands of where it belongs and the people who are licensed for it. And I think in addition to that, the only benefit that could be stated for the people that are actually, you know, in the program would be to also provide protection in case there was some sort of a bad batch. It could be recalled off the shelf and then simply discarded. You know, eventually, you know, stabbing out any potential lawsuits and so on for the company that's producing it. So it could be good on both sides, a tracking system. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think having it be government mandated, I think having the government choose who gets to do the tracking system and dole out that contract, that I think is a bad idea because it just simply leads itself to a whole lot of, you know, mixed bag of feelings. I guess the biggest one I get is, you know, you got a conflict of interest thing going on here. You got the senator who is in charge of whether or not approving this legislation, but at the same time also able to control who in a sense is going to get this contract. And potentially you're talking about a multi-million-dollar contract to the state. It seems to me that if anyone was going to make that decision, it should at least be the board that the law itself would create. But here we are, the senator's doing his job interviews in spite of what I think, and I think it's time that we start holding our government officials accountable, because it's not just about medical marijuana in this sense, it's about how government actually works. And you're telling me that we're in a sense, paying someone there to go give a government contract and do job interviews? No, I don't think that's what our taxes are supposed to be for. I don't think that's what our senators are supposed to be doing. But at any rate, that's where it's at. So if you want to ask me about what's happening with the medical marijuana bills that are in the Senate right now, that's what's happening. We're kind of waiting, in a sense, right now for Senator Jones's committee to, I would assume, have another meeting, another hearing, where we would actually talk about the other content that is a part of this bill, such as like all of the stuff that's in 4209, the other bill, besides the tracking bill. We have yet to see. I think there are some major concerns that are being reviewed by all sides of the party. And when I say that, I'm talking about the people in government that really count, not really the activists here on ground level. And those concerns, I think, are boiling down to the fiscal ones. When we, talk about you got a program that's really being built on a platform of legalization, but yet that's not what we have here in Michigan. We have 125,000 people that are in a medical marijuana program. We don't need 150 new state employees to take care of those people. That's preposterous. And it's a foolish way to spend government's money. The patients are not going to be able to sustain that, and the industry itself is not something that's going to be able to handle the encumbrance of all this additional regulation and hoop jumping. So I hope that they can see that. This type of framework may be the appropriate way to go when there is a format and a viable market for legalization, but that, again, these bills are not being crafted around that. They're being crafted around the current medical marijuana market, which, again, as I said, is currently, according to the state, around 125,000 patients. So I don't think we need to have a whole new regulatory framework set up that's going to mirror gambling and alcohol. I think we've got more gamblers in the state than 125,000. I think the casinos could vouch for that. So. All right, so that's where the bills are at. I mean, that's essentially where things are going. There's not a whole lot of other things nationally other than, the Rohrabacher announcement. Did you guys hear about this? This is the state Supreme Court out in California, and the case is called Rohrabacher. You can look that up if you want, but really what it is dealing with the government's ability, the federal government's ability to go in and enforce its own policies over the top of state law. So this is a sovereignty issue. This is, this is a states' rights issue. This is pretty big. It's a pretty big deal, and it's bigger than medical marijuana. I want to point that out. But in regards to the medical marijuana case that it was describing was the federal government had gone in and had been trying to prosecute, go after a certain dispensary group, and this judge came in and said because of the new ruling, because of the new budgetary alignments and so on, it is not the government's priority to go after organizations that have already been approved within their state. And that's what this organization was. So that's a pretty profound announcement by the state Supreme Court. It definitely sets the tone as to what the prosecutorial approaches will be in the future for our federal law enforcement and for our federal attorney generals. When they go out and they try to pursue different cases now, that is certainly going to make an impact on who they try to pursue and who they don't. And when you have a state-approved organization that is operating in compliance with state law, much just like the Genesee County Compassion Club is, I think that right there it's clear. There should not be a federal involvement when the state is perfectly fine with what's going on and is approved. So, and in the case out in California, they did have an actual approval from the state. Now, I think that's one of the things that we're missing here in Michigan is that we need to have official approvals from the state on the organizations that are already operating here in Michigan. And that's one of the things that's missing in this bill package that has continued to not be addressed. So we've talked about some of the issues such as like the tracking. We've talked about the bills having the encumbrance on the industry and not really lining up to the economics of the thing. But on top of that, the bills also do not address the 400 plus operating businesses here in Michigan that are already what they would consider distribution centers. So what do you do with those other businesses that are already out there, all of those jobs that are already in place, and all of those patients that are dependent on those places for their medication, to meet their caregiver? What do you do with all of those? And if you're not going to address those, how do you continue to operate, or how do you continue to promote a new program while you still have this old one going on here in the gray area? To me, it makes no sense to not address the current things that are going on while you're trying to create a whole new system and simply disregard what's already established. That doesn't make any sense. John, he's eating.
We're taking so much from these people who are trying to always reach deeper in their lives. We elected these people. We have
Yeah.
to seriously allow them to do this, and then we sit around drum about it, bitch about it,
Yeah.
and we don't put the same Yahoo back on.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sitting there, trying to figure out, I've told people several times, I mean,
Yeah.
10 years ago, he told me if I was to get a month of marijuana, I never smoked it. I've said you before, crack, you know, do time, you know, time.
Right.
But now we're just agreeing, like, is this all worth it? And these guys are still refusing to surrender what we can do for ourselves, back to us. I mean, they exempt themselves from all these kind of laws, they pass on themselves, on us.
Yeah.
They exempt themselves from it. Or if they do get caught violating, they're self prosecuted.
Right.
People just keep on voting for the DOVR, the DOVR.
It's insanity. It is. Yeah, but unfortunately, we've got people in charge that just feel like they can do whatever they want, and it's time we started holding them accountable. All right, I got another story I want to share with you. This is hot off the press here from Detroit Free Press. This is a farmer that discovered in Clinton County. Clinton County is north of Lansing, for those of you that are unfamiliar. This is in the town of St. John's. St. John's is like the mint capital of Michigan. There you go. Clinton County farmer discovered an unexpected crop while harvesting his corn. He discovered 28 plants out in his cornfield. We've all heard stories about this, like this every year. It happens, where you've got the guerrilla farmer out there trying to do his grow in the middle of some poor farmer's cornfield. Don't do that, folks. I mean, it's completely irresponsible. It's damaging property. And if you were the farmer, how do you think he feels? Put yourself in his shoes. Anyways, the reason I want to talk about the story is because we continue to have bull crap put into the news, and this is what this is. It says here that they discovered these plants, 28 plants. They're saying the plants weigh about 85 pounds. Here's the part that's killing me, all right? The police officer, his name is Under Sheriff Larry Giroux, says that includes the roots and stalks. So he's got 85 pounds of plants here with the roots and stalks, and he says only about 15 to 20 pounds of that would be available to be sold on the street. Well, I mean, you got the right concept there, Larry, but you got your math is completely wrong, okay? If you've got the entire stalk and the roots, by the time that thing is dried and trimmed up and is actually down to what is usable, it ain't going to be anywhere near 15 pounds. Your 85 pounds is going to be reduced down to probably about 2, all right? So, and then he goes on to state, Mr. Giroux goes on to state that the estimated value of the 15 pounds of marijuana is $48,000 based on $200 per ounce. At $200 per ounce, obviously this person who's getting top shelf price for some outdoor scrub, that's probably not realistic. But in addition to that, if you think 28 plants is worth $48,000, Larry, you should probably just go ahead and get a different job. All right, you're in the wrong field, and that's just preposterous. So, and it's stuff like this that gets reported in the paper that, unfortunately, it's the same kind of crap that you see get thrown to court. And, that's why we have these disputes in court oftentimes about whether or not someone's within their limits, is because you've got information like this being put out there like it's fact, and it's completely false. And in fact, you can go to the DEA's own manual for dealing with marijuana bust. You can go to the United Nations Drug Council's own manual for how they deal with this and what they use for calculations, and see that this gentleman here, the undersheriff in, this is Watertown Township, Clinton County Sheriff, those numbers are completely inaccurate. And, I take offense to this because I see information like this being used to prosecute people in court, to tell people that they're breaking the law and that they're over the limit, when in fact, it's the people who are prosecuting them that have no idea what they're talking about. And so I take strong offense to this type of stuff here, and Detroit Free Press, screw you for printing that crap, okay? All right, that's what I had to share about that story. Pissed me off, man. Held the dude on I guess they caught the guy, held him on a $100,000 bond. I got no love for people that do that kind of gardening. Screw you, you're not helping the system, all right? But at any rate, I got no love for trying to spew out lies and bust people for doing this either. So, all right. Last warning. I think this is pretty common. It's probably going to continue to happen until we're, 80, 90 years old, long gone, passed away. Watch out for marijuana caddies at Halloween, right? Duh. Okay. So, make sure they're not in access, make sure your cannabis is always stored away safely, secure, out of reach of people that don't belong to, I mean, this stuff is obvious here, folks. And now we've got, Michigan State Police putting out their warning, telling parents, hey, you gotta watch out for marijuana candies. I'm sure most patients aren't, the ones that I know at least, aren't giving away their meds to kids, okay? Most patients I know can barely get enough meds for themselves, and I don't think they're gonna be giving it away to trick-or-treaters. But make sure if you are one of those caregivers or patients out there who's making your own candies, and if they look appealing to a child, you need to make sure they're locked up and put away safely so that that child doesn't have an opportunity to make that mistake. We know that you don't want to have that happen either. So, all right, guys, that's what I got to share with you for today. I appreciate you being with me. Being back here in the studio is always a fun time. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on Saturdays. Come on down to Oktoberfest. It's going to be a fantastic time. Bring your outdoor stuff. We want to check it out. We want to test it out for you, if you know what I'm saying. But we would like to run it through the test if you don't mind. We'd like to check that out for you too. And, hey, I mean, it's harvest time. Let's get it on, all right? You guys stay safe at Halloween. Make sure you have fun with your families, and God bless. Thank you, John, for being here, brother. Yeah, All Points TV, you rock, all right? See you guys later. Genesee County Compassion Club. Woo!